I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Rock bottom make the man and some pressure make a gemstone. Trying to put a dollar to my name like Creflo. Naja boy, late to the game, it's in the blood flow. And I'm from the south, it's thick skin and tough bone. Big attitude through big lips with gusto. Trust no kings, that's why they tried to crush souls. But it's IGBO, when the dust blow, this old head be standing there. No silver, just gold. Crack no books on the hustle, I was born to grind. Yo, scared of your potential, I'm adorned with mine. 30 times around the sun, man, of course I shine. My legacy will not dwarf with time. And in my daughter's eyes, it's basic, I must not say quit. Every day sees a present like a Rob St. Nick. Walk a fine line between tenacious and patient. I can't slip, I'm fighting clocks and they can't win.
I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Impeccably I flow, hardest raps you know, breaking status quo, reaping what I sow, artistry like Van Gogh. Get it from my mama, hip so thick that I need tempo. Personality, spicy body banging like a bongo. Cause black women been it since Timbuktu and Sparrows. Sponge rollers and hot combs, lips, cheeks and brow bones. If you ain't for the culture, then please stay out of my zone. These little dummy rappers could never grace my headphones. See, I'm from a place in space where ain't no storytelling, you just had to have been there. If you want the battle, ain't no problem, say where. I got so much experience, I can't even play fair. But I'ma keep evolving and growing and hurting feelings and showing you need endurance to go in. I got mileage on this pen, I've been busy cause I've been out here schooling all these kids. Took 3 decades to have this glow up that I did.
I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got bruised souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. Turn all of my
you guys know, I know you guys were checking shoes last night to see if he was barefoot. Is that still the case? Is he barefoot? Because I know on Facebook somebody posted a picture of these could be his shoes, or is that so he is presumed to be barefoot at this point?
What I can say is that his mom says all of his shoes are accounted for at the house. I'm not going to say that he's barefoot.
All right.
Allegedly!
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. Here's a brief disclaimer for tonight's show. Let's watch.
That's ignorant! Allegedly, that's ignorant! Ignorant.
Judgment, Austin.
Chloe, you read my thoughts. You've got the shinin.
You mean shining?
Shh! You wanna get sued?
Judgment, Austin.
You just use that shin of yours to call me and I'll come a-running. But don't be reading my mind between 4 and 5. That's Willie time.
Hey, yo, Bob. I love him when he does that.
Let's watch.
Don't get me back to good bullshit.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. And it's so good to see everyone tonight. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope you are all having a great Monday night. So I have, let's see here. Oh, I see Daisy Duke renewed her membership. Thank you so much for renewing, Daisy Duke. Also have Chuchi here. Good to see you, Chuchi. Thank you so much. Viewer discretion is advised for tonight, especially, guys, because we are going over some mature subject matter tonight. In the Sebastian Rogers case, I have some documents to read from the courts, and I want to know who the pred is in the family, right? How many lies are we to believe by law enforcement? Here's another big lie on the anniversary of a lie, right? A couple days off, not exactly, but it's coming back around, right? And so, yeah, where's Sebastian, Katie? Right? What's the Foot Clan got to do with it? I'd say everything. And good to see you, Sasha. Why did law enforcement say they talked to this person and they were cleared? Is that accurate? I couldn't read that good. Can you read the document? Because it's important. Absolutely. I'm going to go over, and I think you're referring to the statement by law enforcement that cleared the green hoodie. That was December 13th, I do believe. So this is exciting, and something that I've been working on since last year around the time that all of this came out, right? But I never do these things all by myself. Trust me when I say I am no Angela Lansbury over here. I have a lot of super sleuth people out there that are just really wanting to find Sebastian Rogers. And it's so good to see all of you guys. Just want to shout out little Miss Sharon, also Ann Reynolds, and also Deanna's here. Good to see you, Deanna D. And we have little Redo here. Good to see you, little Redo. And Lisa King is here. Thank you so much for being here, Lisa. And let's see, who else do we have? I just don't want to miss anybody really quick because I know there's a terribly large amount of people. Hey, Brenda Calvert, good to see you. And this was all popping off in our Discord earlier because I received the Facebook message from Bo in there, and we were talking about the at night post that came out. So they're looking for information on this person. But I know that Nick the Hat was in my chat around the time last year. Hey, Holly S., thank you for being here. And thank you so much for the super sticker. How sweet of you. Thank you. And so I don't know, maybe they just want more info, right? But I mean, I'm pretty sure we went over all of this, right? Because we thought that the green hoodie was a man, right? So I call him the shim because it's like a she him. It's like a shim, right? Shimmy shimmy cocoa pops. Gotcha, Denise. Good to see you. Hey, lady. Good to see you, Denise. Sorry, guys, I don't want to miss any of you guys. And then also Justice for Noog is here. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, Bo. Yeah, so we were popping off and in the Discord about this. And then I was like, okay, be right back. And then I hurried up and made some videos, which, oh my gosh, it's like when I go into that mode, I'm just hurrying as fast as I can to get it out to you guys. Thank you so much, Holly. Thank you. Thank you. And Bo has been a member for 4 months. Thank you so much, Bo, for being a member and a mod. Merry Christmas to you too, Bo. And thank you so much for always being here. I really appreciate you a lot. And Denise, thank you, Denise. Love you too. Hey, Blessed in Florida, good to see you. Good to see everyone, and welcome in everyone in the bushes. Even hey, Maui, good to see you. Hey, TJ, good to see you. At night's a joke. She said. TJ says, Lolly put out who Green Hoodie was. She's the one that showed the picture of the kid of the cop that lives directly behind. I have not seen that, TJ. If you want to send it to me, you can. But yeah, I've been looking at this person as Green Hoodie for a while. And then if they're looking for someone that's in the Proudfoot clan, this person would be a match. So that's why I'm bringing it up again because I talked about it, like I said, way back. I'll show you guys the shorts. Because I didn't put it, I don't think I put it in the video. I just said this is someone we've been looking at since last year around this time. So a lot of things are coming up. Like, I find it so funny that Jen and I went to all these places, and now all of these places are being reviewed and revisited, right? So like the cemetery being one of them. And shout out to Silvers for going out there and helping us out with that. The Stop 30 area, right, off of Stop 30 Road. So a lot of things are coming back around. KJ, thank you for being here, KJ's True Crime Campfire. Hey, Lady Freedom mods in chat. I hope everyone is doing well. Keep praying for Sebastian. May we all have a Merry Christmas, especially Seth. Let's bring Sebastian home. Yeah, I'm right there with you. And, I think it's beyond there. It's beyond horrible what Seth is going through. And it's been far too long. People know more than they're saying, right? There has to be more involvement. Katie couldn't have just, made Sebastian invisible and walked him out the door. That's not what happened. And she was the last one with him. So, Catherine said, it's good to see you, Catherine, with the green hearts. Thank you so much for being here and for the green hearts. Hey, TJ. Yeah, just send it over to me, TJ, because especially lately, I haven't watched any new creator or any other creators other than some new ones that I've been on Facebook watching, right? So I haven't even been on these streets. I've been, watching over there because that's where a lot of things are popping off over there. And Devlin hung out with an older crowd of people too. A lot of his peers were bullying him. So he hung out with older folks. And older folks like to go on Facebook, no offense. I'm just saying a lot of them do. And that's where they're all hanging out. So I have no shade. I'm just, I'm just being silly. But I mean, really, that's where they hang out. Um, Cece, so good to see you. Hey, Cece, thanks for being here. That's why I always say hi to the bush people because it's not always bad people in the bushes. Because I've been in the bushes too, and that's another thing. Sometimes I might be in a chat, but I'm not chatting because I'm in the bushes taking notes or something, or really listening or cooking dinner or something. So sometimes I'm swimming in the pool with an earbud in. Um, Janet, good to see you. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much from South Africa. Thank you, Janet. Merry Christmas to everyone, guys. I hope you're all having a wonderful Christmas, going to people's houses and stuff. I know that was a weekend for people. A lot of people were telling me they had plans for this weekend. So I'm just so glad. And yeah, I did all my Christmas shopping, got that done for my daughter. I was really excited. Um, I think she watches me, or I tell you guys what I got her because I got her some really cute stuff. But I think she listens, so I can't say it here because I want it to be a surprise. And then I almost sent her like something just like, oh, do you have this? Because she likes to put together like the Lego flowers, but then they have all of these other brands out there that are also like buildable sets like that. So I was looking online and I found one that I was like, oh, I was gonna say, do you like this color? And then I found one that I know that she would like because she likes purple. So I'm like, oh yay. Um yeah, so I was excited about that. But anyway, I'm missing her a lot. A lot, a lot. What do we know about Mr. Carr's son? Well, I know a fair amount about him and his family, but nothing that I can see that would be suspicious, in my opinion. And if I miss something, again, definitely send it my way, guys, because I want to see it. I want to see everything. But yeah, um, very interesting with the car situation because he doesn't have um well, I'll just say on the surface, he doesn't look like he is would be a person of interest or someone that would help out with something like this, if I could just be honest. But neither does Eric Craddock. Neither does some of the Duck Dynasty members. So, Catherine says, I've been offline the past couple days, so Nova Scotia photos were definitely not Sebastian. No, no, Catherine, not to my knowledge. And I looked at the first two, I'm like, no, no. The third one, I'm like, oh, maybe. And then I was like, no, that's not him. In my opinion, That's why I haven't covered that a lot. I didn't share the sighting because it really breaks my heart every single time I have to compare the photos of the kids that are possibly Sebastian. So I haven't done that since that one in Missouri that looked just like him, because I did a side by side video and it was just so sad to, because I know it's not him. So Denise says, hashtag where is Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers? Hashtag right, Denise? Amen. I know she knows, right? Come on out and join us, Bush peeps. You guys are funny. Yeah, Lego flowers are they're really pretty, blessed. I want her to build me one. Like I want to pick one out and send it to her for her to build for me, and then she can send it back to me. Because she's the good one, she does a good job of that. Not me. I'm not the one to sit and do that. She's a really good at that. So and the flowers are so pretty. Like even the off-brand ones. That's why I was like, "Hey, do you know anything about these? Are these the same kind of deal?" But I ended up getting her something that she could hang on the wall, which I don't think that she has that yet. So I was just like, "Ugh, which ones do you have?" Because I used to go over to her apartment, of course, but I don't know which ones she's gotten since I've, been over and stuff because it's been a year. Um, so, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited, and then I got her boyfriend something. Like I got the matching t-shirts, but it's kind of funny. Which she already kind of knows that because I had to ask for the sizes and stuff. So, um, oh, okay. Thank you, Bo. Thank you so much. Lady Freedom, I sent you a picture that was shared today from another creator. I sent it to your Lady Freedom Messenger. Thank you so much, Bo. I really appreciate you. I know. I just realized I had like a Lady Freedom Messenger that was separate from my other one. Yikes. And then people probably think I've been ignoring them. And I'm like, oh no, I try to get back to everybody. It's an ordeal every day because as soon as I saw this, I was like, "Oh my gosh." And I was trying to work on a roast video. So tomorrow for our Christmas party, we are going to roast the the reward money for Devlin Tate. We were supposed to do it tonight, and I hate to do that as a party, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles and the day falls. So, and I have to get it out because there's an interview with his mom on there. So, because I want to get that part out, and it doesn't make sense if we don't, a large part of it was Mary trying to save face about the reward, which I don't know why they keep bringing it up. By the way, again, you guys keep bringing it up. It's really not in your best interest, right? If you had a lawyer, they would tell you to zip it. They would say exhibit A, right? Zip it, because you're just digging yourself a bigger hole. So, yeah, Catherine, it was one, was it February of last year? Excuse me, last February, excuse me, of this year, was the Missouri one. And it was storm damage that they had gotten. And people were outside, because that's what people do in the Midwest after the storm. They all go outside and everybody's looking at the damage and everything like that. So yeah, but it looked so eerily similar to Sebastian, only maybe a couple of years younger. So, hey, Veronica, glad to see you. Thank you for being here. Amen, Janet. Please, Jesus, bring Sebastian home. We have faith. We believe that Sebastian will be found. I believe that he will be found too, guys. And I had the same feeling around the same time last year because we were seeming to get so close. We just got the footage from the Texas Roadhouse. There was all these things happening, and then now they're all being revisited. So Katie is the key, and Chris and Green Hoodie are involved, in my opinion. Yes, I agree. I mean, Katie is just the one, right? But then Chris has to know about it. Otherwise, I don't think they would have stayed together because they weren't supposed to be staying together. Right? Katie was on her way out. Chris was on his way out. Chris wasn't coming home even on the weekends when Sebastian was with his dad. That's a big sign, right? That's a big sign that something's not quite going the way it should. Because, it's a 3.5 hour car ride. It's not that big of a deal. I'd be coming home to see my people on the weekends if I was out of town. Now, if he picked up extra hours and was working overtime, I understand that. Yeah, I know, Janet. Craddock, Bauer sucks, Melissa, CP, KP, my opinion. Where is Sebastian? I mean, it had to have been a family affair, right? Because that's what they do. They all get together and they basically harass, stalk, terrorize people. I mean, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but what do you call it when somebody, slashes your tires? That's pretty terroristic activity, in my opinion. That's sending someone a message, you know. And it was being done to the girls that Chris was dating, right? It was done to Nina. Nina's children were abused by Chris, right? It is what it is. Okay. And let me get us going on this, guys, because we have a lot to talk about. I'll be reading some stuff for you guys tonight. And I hope that we can figure this out together. So we're going to go first into the first video I posted. It's going to be called the 1-year anniversary of Hoodie Shim, right? We had him back then, in my opinion. Look. All right. Here we go. All righty. So let's go in here. Hey, Hope Floats. Good to see ya. All right, here we go. So we got that going. Let me get this bigger. Oh, I don't know why it's doing that.
Green tea.
Hold on. Can you guys see that? Right.
Green tea.
You're so goofy.
He's typically a very, very sweet boy. He can be quite temperamental, though, if he's overstimulated or if he's stressed out. He has a unique run. He runs like the Naruto anime character. When he's excited, he likes to dab, and he loves music. He loves to dance.
That's all very helpful information. Now, if Sebastian is out there watching, what would you like to say to your son?
I would say, Bubba, we love you. We all love you so much. Wherever you are, just know that we are not going to stop. We're going to keep searching. We're going to find you. We're going to bring you home. And if you ever get an opportunity, find a phone, find a safe adult, call 911. But I'd also like to ask our community to please keep searching your properties. Keep sharing his flyer. If you know something or you see something, please say something. Call the law enforcement immediately.
We're going to do everything we can to help find him.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So we have At Night Creative Intelligence. At Night believes, and this was today, right? So December 22nd, 2025, 9 hours ago. At Night believes it has identified Green Hoodie as of 7:30 a.m. Eastern today, December 22nd, 2025. We asked the public to send any relevant material they may have, despite using the women's restroom. At Night has reason to believe Green Hoodie is a male in his 20s. It took approximately 360 days to identify this individual, whom we believe to be blood related to the Proudfoot family. So they are part of the Foot Clan, this person, right? This person that they're talking about. So, I I don't know. They're putting out a clue. Hey, Casey Blues. Good to see you, hon. So they're putting out a clue. And again, we've talked about this person back when this all went down. So where is Sebastian, Chris, Katie, right? Because I think that you were protesting too much on your son's birthday. Sebastian's still missing. You go to the Krama channels to talk about him, right? But you're really not worried about finding him. Okay, and here is the green hoodie picture. Now, this is a picture that has been enhanced, and you can tell that there's been some enhancements on this photo. So, there's that. And notice, I wanted to notice the timestamp 6:18 p.m. is when green hoodies making their way through the parking lot. Okay, so here's a closer shot of the green hoodie, but it's very tough to get a good shot of green hoodie. Because every time we get a picture of green hoodie, they look different. I don't know if this footage has been manipulated because this is not footage that is coming directly from the restaurant to us, right? As our eyes being able to see this in its raw form with no one ever having done any type of enhancements whatsoever, right? So here we go. This is a picture that they tried to push off. The TBI tried to push that off as Katie and Sebastian, the night that Sebastian went missing. That was February 25th, 2024. But this is not the photo, and this is not the same night. Right? Wasn't me. Wasn't me. Right? And I played Shaggy with this. This is a short I made, and I just took the video again. So again, here we see this green hoodie person in the parking lot, right? And you can see that their hair is kind of wild and outgrown, you know, from its original style that it was. It's just all these freaking lies. I know, Holly, it's absolutely insane, right? Absolutely insane. So here's green hoodie walking through the parking lot. And again, looks a little bit more feminine in my opinion. All right. So At Night believes it's identified the green hoodie as of 7:30 Eastern today, December 22nd, 2025. We asked the public to send any relevant material they have despite using the women's bathroom. At Night has reason to believe green hoodie is a male in his 20s. It took approximately 360 days to identify the individual who we believe is blood related to the Proudfoot family. And here's some enhanced photos as well by At Night. But if you look, you can't see who's the facial features at all. Look at that. That is so blurry. No offense. I'm not trying to throw shade, but come on. You can't get a good, solid picture from this because the person is in movement. So when the person is in movement, everything's going to look blurry. It's going to be very heavily pixelated. These are crappy photos, okay? I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying. I don't think they're I don't think that. No, I think they're a shim. Hey, Ann Brock. I think they're a shim. But let's see. So this is for immediate release on December 13th, 2024, right? This is last year around this time that Sumner County released this. We want to address the recent speculation surrounding the individual seen wearing a green hoodie near Texas Roadhouse in relation to the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers from Hendersonville, Tennessee. We understand the community's concern and the desire for answers in this case. Today, detectives interviewed the person in question regarding their presence on the night of February 25th, 2024. We can confirm that after a thorough discussion with this individual, there is no evidence linking them to Sebastian's disappearance. We appreciate the vigilance and cooperation from the public and all of those involved in the search for Sebastian. We encourage everyone to continue providing any pertinent information that could assist in the ongoing investigation. However, we also urge the community to approach social media rumors with caution, as misinformation can distract from the real efforts to find Sebastian. The search for Sebastian Rogers remains our top priority, and we will continue to pursue all leads with the utmost diligence. We ask for continued support and patience from the community as we work together to bring Sebastian home. To provide tips, please contact the Sumner County Sheriff's Office or the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. They didn't leave a phone number for those, but we know it's 1-800-TBI-FIND. 1-800-TBI-FIND for the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, and Sumner County is 451-3838, 6615-451-3838. So we know that, right? So, hey, God's Marine, good to see you. No, God's Marine, I'm not talking about that. I'm not saying it's a hermaphrodite person, right? No. And, no disrespect to anybody that was born that way. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that we don't know the identity of the green hoodie. That's what I'm saying. This is always going to be purely speculative, but since At Night wants to put that out, I'll just put this out, right? And this is somebody who would possibly do something horrible to a child, right? Someone in the Proudfoot clan. So that was for immediate release. No one else, by the way, has been cleared. No, I'm just kidding. No, but in all honesty, we have a mother who is the last one in the house with her son. And she says she doesn't know what happened to him. There's no footage of him leaving the neighborhood or leaving his home, crawling out a window, going out the front door, leaving out the back door, hopping the fence out the backyard, anything like that. Okay. Okay, guys, so this is the footage from my trip to the Texas Roadhouse in October of 2025, right? So this is Jeff and Jen and I went to lunch. And this is the area around around the Texas Roadhouse where Sebastian was last seen on camera. And you can see there's tons of businesses around. There should be camera footage of other events that night, but there hasn't been any release, and hopefully some was captured. As you can see, this area over here is fenced in, right? The whole area is fenced in. This is the to-go area where you pick up all the to-go orders. You can see it's numbered, right? And then we'll go past the window. The music is extremely loud. So for someone to say that Sebastian gets, overwhelmed, like Katie said, overstimulated. Have this very loud music playing. I wonder how he fared with that. We do know that when he got out of the car, he was plugging his ears. So we also go right around this area. You can see there's multiple businesses as well, right? See all of those businesses. And then they have cameras in the back of those businesses as well. There's plenty of places for Green Hoodie to use the bathroom. And if you wanted to, there was even a Starbucks over there. Right? So why was she hanging out, snoozing around the parking lot of the Texas Roadhouse? And then she made it sure to make contact with the possibly using the wrong bathroom. Right? And as I said before, I don't know if this is a man, a woman. I don't know who this person is. But it looks like one of the people in the family who is a registered SO. All right, here's the parking lot again. Here we're walking in. I'm going to show you just around how many cameras are actually at this location. Hey, Juicy Jules. So here, look at all these cameras. There's one. Recess lighting. Then you can go. There's more cameras there as we're getting closer. They also have speakers hanging up as well, because like I said, the music is very loud and you can hear it well into the parking lot. So I myself like loud music, but if I'm somebody that was overstimulated easily, that would do it for me. There's another camera there. And multiple cameras. Wow. See there? We don't get that angle. We're not getting that angle from that camera. I believe we were getting the angle from the one up on this side. That's the reason why we were able to see what the yellow jacket guy was doing. Yeah, this is exactly the spot that Sebastian last, February 25th, 2024. What's his mother, Katie? This is his vehicle, and they drive away, and Sebastian is up or heard from him. This will be the second Christmas without Sebastian. Here's the to-go window and the go door, right where they come out. Now, this is a Saturday.
Nano Banana Pro is now on Artlist. Get Google's most up-to-date model and...
All right, so as you walk in, and this is a Saturday, guys, it wasn't very busy at all yet. We got there for an early lunch, right? This is the area in which Green Hoodie, or in which Yellow Jacket made contact with Katie, right? The area where you would wait for, we did wait there when we had a lunch day on Sunday, and it was packed. Now just notice how I go right past everybody. Nobody asked me if I need a table or anything. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing, and I'm filming. I noticed that today. That's okay. I wanted to be left alone, and I kind of wanted to make myself comfortable because I wanted to get everything, right? So this is the bar area, obviously. And then we're going to hit the bathrooms. So here around the corner are the two bathrooms, one for family, one for the ladies only. and then the men's room. So let's go jam the rest of it, right? I went by there really quick, but anyway, figure it out. So you got the family one there, right? And then this one is the ladies' room, all the way back. Right? And thank God no one was coming in and out of there. So then there's, you know, a long wall, and then you get to the men's room. There's also an exit right there, but I don't know if it sets off the alarm. No. She should have went out that exit, and she didn't. She was in the restaurant. And, like, the bathrooms are all the way in the back of the restaurant. In the back. So you can see, here I am, you know, filming the whole area. Trying not to get the other people who are eating for the workers. Right, but I wanted to see what we were dealing with here. I almost went into one of the servers. And then our table was back there, but I didn't go all the way back to see everybody. So I did another little stroll around. And I wanted to see if anybody was at the table. And they were, so I could film it. And then that's it for that visit, right? And I just want to ask, what about me, right? What about Sebastian? Where's Sebastian's justice? You guys know what happened to him. You have to. You have all this evidence and more that we've been seeing lately, and you have to know, right? So my big question is, you know, is this person the green hoodie? Or is this at least who At Night is referring to? So this guy is William Christopher Guy. He is an offender against children. He's got his own offender number, right? SO015317. And he's got some aliases that he goes by, right? So it's William Christopher Guy, William Christopher C, or excuse me, William C. Guy, right? And then you have some addresses. Under his vehicle is a 2005 white Chrysler 300 sedan. It's a 4-door, right? Some of the places that he's lived will be on, I think is on the other one. I'm sorry. This is just a primary address, 110 Morningside Drive, Portland, Tennessee, 37066. And that is in Sumner County, right? Portland PD has these records. He has a secondary address, 4026 Brown Street, Westmoreland, Tennessee, also Sumner County. And they're aware of that. His employer is 4391 Nashville Road, Franklin, Kentucky, 42134. And he says also that he's got a listed employer as 241 Commerce Way in Gallatin, Tennessee, 37066, also in Sumner County, right? So he travels out of state, being a registered sex offender in one state, and travels to another state for work. Does that seem right to anyone else? Bueller? Hey, Kylie's Nail Candy. Hey, Andrea. Good to see ya. This dude looks super pervy, right? Pervy perv to the max, right? Part of the Foot Clan. Part of the Foot Clan, guys. All right, so here's an example of a 2005 white Chrysler 300, right? So just so everybody can see it, it's kind of got a boxier you know, Chrysler's kind of are a little bit of a luxury kind of a brand where they kind of seem more luxurious, I guess. All right, so this is nothing we haven't seen before from these guys, the polished turds. Here they are, Chris and Katie. The saga continues. Saga of the turd continues. Right? But I thought you loved me, Mr. Mom or Mr. Chris and Mom, right? Even though I guess he told, you know, Seth that he doesn't think that Mom and Mr. Chris like him very much. Right? Because I remember that. All right, Duck Dynasty is doing nothing to find Sebastian. The party's over, gentlemen. Let's go. Uno, bish. Uno. All right, guys. And no man who is corrupt, no man who condones corruption in others can possibly do his duty by the community. Mr. Snuggle Struggle. The duty of the youth is to challenge corruption. Have you seen me? My name's Sebastian Rogers. I'm still missing. I wondered about that too, Holly S. I wondered about that too. Crazy. Veronica says, OMG Williams. Okay, so I'm not lady who was very, very good comedian. OMG, that name came up with Sebastian, and that's the first time I've heard that. Really, Veronica? Wow. That's crazy. I don't think that you're crazy. I think that, you know, we never know what the hell's going on in these cases. You know? I think these cases are crazy and they drive us crazy. All right, so let's read up on this guy. Because even if it isn't the green hoodie, it could be someone who could be involved in this case, as Veronica was saying. I've always felt like KP handed him off to someone, a pred, right, Holly? I mean, it very well could be. Very well could be. I've said enough. It's up to you to figure it out. I think I'm just going to hang out. You could just hang out, God's Marine. I don't know what you guys are conversating about, but as long as we're respectful, I mean, you know, so just be nice to each other. Okay, so now, and it's because it's Christmas, and we're gonna roast people tomorrow, so we'll save that for tomorrow. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, so let me go ahead and play this through really quick. Da da da. Ooh, that's a creepy thing. Okay, so here we go. We got. Hopefully, I could do that. Okay, let me go ahead and add this to the stage. This is creepy. All right, here we go. So we have this weirdo, right? Getting to know the possible green hoodie shim, right? So, who is the pred in the Foot Clan? His name is William Christopher Guy. He's an offender against children. Again, we know this. And then there's Chris and Katie with their little corn cobs. Because we're going to get into it, and you guys are going to see what kind of guy William Christopher Guy is, right? Status active, and he has offenses. Offenses. We got offenses, right? So first we have the date of the offense on May 24th, 2018. Mr. Guy participated in pornography involving a minor, right? Pornography involving a minor, you know? a corn cob offender. I mean, it's awful. It is so awful. You know? Kylie says I got a funny feeling the Cooter clan the Cooterfoot clan will have 2 more at the end of this case. I agree with that. It's the nasty old corn cobs. Oh my god. Holly says corn cobs ladies always annoyed AF about the damn corn. They disgraced the corn, Holly. I'll never forgive them for that. I will never forgive them for that. Now we got again the address is up close. So if you guys have any information, shoot it over to at night. Um, you know, I know that the police have to know about this, right? They have to know about this already. But either way, he's got 2 addresses that he goes to. Decides that he's going to go out and work in Kentucky. I don't know if Kentucky knows about him. I would hope so. There's children in Kentucky that need to be, protected. All right. So this one now is more recent, right? So the employer is 418 Highway 52, West Portland, Tennessee. And again, shout out to my super sleuth, you know, the wonderful and one and only Countess of New England on this. So because like I said, I'd been working on this for a while, so that information that I had from before is a little older than this information, Hey Jen. So this is more current, right? That was sent to me today. And we have vehicles, a 2002 blue Ford F-150 pickup, and we have a tag number. Looky there, we got a tag number for this one too, right? So BTG8745, right? A vehicle, 2009 blue Chevrolet Impala. Oh, a sedan, another sedan. Okay, so we got the tag as 880BNQS, right? Tennessee tags, both Tennessee tags. School, he's a volunteer state community college in Gallatin, Sumner County, right? So he's getting his further education when he ruined little children's lives for the rest of their lives. But he's able to just go on and go to school and do his thing, work out of state. Oh, and that's not all, folks, right? So his criminal history, right? These are all from 7/23, except for 1 and 6/23. Oh, excuse me, we got some more down here. Okay. So the first thing we have is in 7/23. I'm going to read them in order. Cruelty to animals, guilty plea, charged. Cruelty to animals, charged, dismissed, right? Looks like they might have wrapped some of these up into one, right? But he had multiple counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 counts and charged with 1. That's what it reads like to me, right? So it looks like a violation on 6/23. And then we also have 2019, a guilty plea for sex offender registration. So really stand up guy. He should really be out in society, right? And then here's that, right? Guilty plea to a lesser charge, right? So that means that his charges were much worse, but he pled down and pled guilty to a lesser charge, right? He's got red hair, hazel eyes. He's a male Caucasian, 5'8", 180 pounds. His driver's license number is 126430973. His date of birth is 6/30/1995. So that doesn't really match up with what At Night has put out about a guy in their 20s. He looks younger than he is. in my opinion, in the photo. That was taken in 2018, I do believe. So he's got some tattoos. He's got tattoos on his arm, on the left, on the right, on the abdomen. He's got a tattoo on his shoulder on the right. All right. So the last registration report date was 8/26/25, which was 4 months ago. Right? They just updated this information 4 months ago as well. Oops, sorry. I don't know why that's showing there. And then we have registration agency is Portland. So he's no longer registered in the other area. All right. So this was filed 11/29/23. And when I was looking back for more information on this guy, I knew he had more charges. But the problem is that in places, some states, and Missouri is one of them, and this is how I know, they hide charges, they hide things within court documents. And so you have to actually go into these documents and you have to look up the specific case number, and good luck if you can find it, you're lucky. Right? So this is in the Court of Criminal Appeals of Tennessee at Jackson, okay? Assigned on briefs September 12th, 2023 at Nashville, State of Tennessee versus Christopher Guy. Appeal from the criminal court for Shelby County, right? And then it gives off the numbers. Paul L. Skahan, judge. Right? Number W 2023-00177-CCA-R3-CD. The defendant, Christopher Guy, appeals the trial court's revocation of his effective 6-year probationary sentence for his convictions for 2 counts of misdemeanor domestic assault and 1 count of felony vandalism. The defendant argues that 1, the trial court lacked jurisdiction to revoke his probation because he has completed his probationary period by the time the revocation warrant was filed. And 2, the revocation warrant should have been dismissed due to law enforcement's failure to preserve evidence. The defendant also contends that he should have been granted an appellate bond during the pendency of the appeal. The state responds that we should affirm the trial's court revocation order and that the defendant is not entitled to relief on his appellate bond issue. Following our review, we determined that the defendant has completed the probationary periods on his misdemeanor domestic assault convictions before the issuance of the revocation warrant, but the revocation warrant was timely as to the probation for his felony vandalism conviction. We affirm in part and reverse in part and remand for entry of the amended probation revocation order and the corrected judgment for the defendant's felony vandalism conviction in accordance with this opinion. So what happened here is that he had 2 charges. One, he had a warrant on, and he didn't realize, he forgot about the charge. Right? So he was like, no, I was already off my probation for my domestic violence, right? But you guys got the charges, but you guys didn't do it in a timely fashion, right? And you don't have any proof. You know, the Foot Clan likes to say, prove it, prove it, prove it, prove it, you know, which we do have to prove it. But I find it funny that they are always clowning with this bullcrap, right? But so he did, in fact, was in fact supposed to be brought in because of his other charge of felony vandalism. Okay, so now we have Tennessee appeal of rights, judgment of the court affirmed in part, reversed in part, case remanded. Right? And that's Kyle A. Hickson delivered the opinion of the court in which James Kurtwood Witt Jr. and Matthew J.R. Wilson joined. Right? Terrell Lee Tootin, Memphis, Tennessee, for the appellant Christopher Guy. Right? So then that's their lawyers, and that's all the other appeals stuff here. So moving right along, on November 14th, 2024, the defendant pleaded guilty to 2 counts of misdemeanor domestic assault in cases 14-03046 and 14-03047. In case 14-03046, the defendant received a sentence of 11 months and 29 days suspended to the probationary period of 2 years. See Tennessee Code 40-35-303. The trial court awarded pretrial judge credits in a case of 14-03046 from July 3rd, 2013 to July 27th, 2013, and from August 21st, 2024, August 21st, 2014 to November 14th, 2024. Oh no, I didn't say that right. Excuse me. I have 2024 on my brain for some reason. So from August 21st to November 14th of 2014. In the case 14-03047, the defendant was sentenced to 11 months and 29 days suspended to probation to be served consecutively to his 2-year probationary sentence for the first case, right? So we had 2 cases. The trial court awarded the defendant 1 day of pretrial jail credit, April 28th, 2013, for the second case, right? So he's got 2 cases pertaining to domestic assault, and they decided to run everything consecutive and give him credit for time served on the second one. On May 10th, 2017, the defendant pleaded guilty to felony vandalism in case 16-01978. At the guilty plea hearing, the defendant agreed that he had violated his probation in cases the above cases. I'm not going to keep reading the numbers off though, guys. So there's the 2 cases for domestic. The trial court accepted the state's recommendation for a 3-year sentence of felony vandalism charge, but withheld judgment on the case and the revocation proceedings so that the parties could be heard as to whether the defendant should be granted probation. A probation hearing ensued on July 12th, 2017. Right? So they continued it to July 12th, 2017. At the conclusion of the hearing, the trial court ordered the defendant to serve 3 years on felony vandalism charge, suspended to probation, and awarded the defendant pretrial credits from March 10th, 2015 to March 12th, 2015, and from February 28th, 2017 to May 10th, 2017. The trial court also, the trial court also reinstated probation in cases for domestic violence, right? The judgment document for the felony vandalism charge reflects the defendant was sentenced to 3 years, suspended to 6-year probation term. The the judgment document is silent as to whether the sentence was to be served concurrently or consecutively to the domestic violence cases. However, the transcript of the hearing indicates that the trial court sentenced the defendant to serve a 3-year probationary sentence in the vandalism case consecutively to the probationary terms from the domestic violence cases. Right? So they're giving him a huge break. Right? Even though he hurts little kids, even though he's a real jackass, even though he's a real shit bum, let's just go ahead and consolidate all of this. That sounds good because domestic violence is no big deal. Right? It doesn't matter if you hurt little kids and animals. On October 19th, 2022, a probation revocation warrant pertaining to all three cases was issued, alleging that the defendant was involved in an accident in which the defendant was in which the defendant was shot twice, and the defendant, being a convicted felon, unlawfully possessed a gun. Oh, fantastic. And then on January 4th, 2023, the defendant filed a motion to dismiss the revocation warrant. In his motion, the defendant alleged that the state had lost or destroyed a video recording. So he's alleging that the state destroyed a video recording of, the incident that had been previously collected by officers. Relying on State versus Ferguson 2, the defendant asked the trial court to dismiss the revocation warrant as a remedy for the lost or destroyed evidence. Okay, guys, so basically, because evidence was lost, the video just went poof. Can you believe it? Hey, Kiki. The video went poof, Kiki, just like this. We're supposed to believe this child went poof. It just vanished, right? It just vanished. We don't know what happened to it, Jen. It just, poof. Oh, and to remedy that, because you guys wronged me, I would like everything to go away, right? He wants it dismissed. The defendant asked the trial court to dismiss the revocation warrant as a remedy for the lost and destroyed evidence. The trial court initially heard the defendant's Ferguson's motion on January 4th, 2023. The state conceded at the hearing that the video had in fact been lost. The state conceded at the hearing that the video had in fact been lost and agreed that there was negligence involved in the video being lost. Wow. Sumner County took responsibility for losing this criminal's video and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry that we lost it. That was negligent." Hey, Kiki. Hey, Christy Smith. Welcome in, guys. Isn't that something? Right? So, regarding negligence, the state argued that the trial court would, quote, have to make a determination as to the degree after the court heard from the officers, end quote. Regarding the contents of the lost video, the state explained, quote, the officers obtained a video and allegedly watched it, and then they say it was consistent that the defendant had a gun on the video, end quote. The trial court reserved ruling on the Ferguson issue, informing the parties that it would need to hear proof before it can make an appropriate ruling. Prior to the revocation hearing on January 19th, 2023, counsel for the defendant stated his understanding that the state had agreed that the witness would not be allowed to talk about the video or what had been seen in the video, right? So in other words, that evidence was now thrown out of court. The video evidence was thrown out of court. They can't even talk about it, right? Because it disappeared. The state agreed that it would not elicit such proof at the hearing. Defense counsel then argued that the defendant's October 19th, 2022 revocation warrant was untimely filed and that the court should dismiss the revocation. Defense counsel argued that the defendant was serving an effective 6-year probationary sentence because the 3-year probationary sentence for the felony vandalism conviction was to be served consecutively to the effective 3-year sentence for the misdemeanor domestic assault convictions. Defense attorney argued that by the time the October 19th, 22 years probation, as part of his contention on this point, the defendant argued that one of his misdemeanor probation had expired before 2017 revocation proceedings, right? And we went over that earlier. He was saying that the domestic violence one was expired, but then they reminded him that he still had the one for the felony vandalism. While the trial court speculated that the argument might have been might have been viable had it been raised in 2017, the trial court found that the argument was not raised in 2017, that, quote, decisions were made, end quote, and that the defendant, quote, was reprobated, end quote, at the time, right? Yeah, he was already compensated, in other words, for lack of a better word, for that hiccup, right? And they seem to have a lot when it comes to this piece of crap, in my opinion. So the trial court proceeded to hear proof on the revocation warrant. Lonnie Orr testified that he was married to the defendant's ex-wife, Miss Brittany Gaston. Mr. Orr said that approximately 1 week before his altercation with the defendant, he made a social media post which stated, quote, RIP to the Guy family, end quote. Mr. Orr explained that the defendant misinterpreted the post as a threatening message, right? A different prosecutor represented the state at this hearing. Just so everyone knows, that's a footnote. And then on March, sorry, it's probably going to take a little bit to get there. Hold on one second. On March 3rd, 2022, Elsie, who was Mr. Orr's 15-year-old stepson, as well as the defendant's biological son, had run away from home. Mr. Orr paid someone to tell him where Elsie was located, and Mr. Orr learned that Elsie was located at the gas station. Mr. Orr went to the gas station to retrieve Elsie, and his wife met him there. Mr. Orr put Elsie in his wife's car, and as he was walking back toward the gas station, Mr. Orr heard his wife yelling. As Mr. Orr turned around to face the commotion, he noticed the defendant. He said the defendant pulled out a gun, cocked it, and asked Mr. Orr, "What are you going to do?" Mr. Orr pulled out his gun and started firing at the defendant because he was afraid the defendant intended to shoot him. Mr. Orr explained that he believed that the defendant intended to kill him because the defendant had threatened to kill him before. Mr. Orr said he saw the defendant throw his gun, so Mr. Orr dropped his gun and fled to somewhere safer. Approximately 5 minutes later, a detective called Mr. Orr and asked him to return to the gas station or else it was going to be worse on him. On Mr. Orr, excuse me. And then Mr. Orr returned to the gas station. On cross-examination, defense counsel asked Mr. Orr if he knew how the defendant had been shot multiple times in the back of his body, if Mr. Orr and the defendant had been facing each other at the time of the shooting, and Mr. Orr replied that he did not know. Right? So that's a lot. That's a lot to unpack. Right? And that's a lot going on in the neighborhood. Right? I've never remember having that big of a confrontation with a neighbor before, but that's what apparently happened. So the defendant testified that on March 3rd, 2022, Elsie had been missing for 3 days, and the family member showed him Mr. Orr's social media post stating RIP to the Guy family. The defendant said that Elsie called him and asked the defendant to come pick him up at the gas station, and the defendant drove to the gas station. He explained that by the time he arrived, Mr. Orr and the defendant's ex-wife were already at the gas station with Elsie. The defendant argued with him about his son, and the defendant said that Mr. Orr shot him in the arm and that after the defendant took 2 steps back and turned around, Mr. Orr shot him in the leg. The defendant hid behind a car and waited for help. He said he did not have a gun or any weapons. On cross-examination, the defendant acknowledged that as a convicted felon and a person on probation, he was not allowed to have a gun. At the conclusion of the proof, counsel for the defendant again argued that the defendant had completed his probationary period prior to the issuance of the revocation warrant. Counsel repeatedly asked the trial court for a ruling as to whether he had that had occurred, and the trial court denied those requests, saying only the defendant, quote, was on probation, end quote, and that it was, quote, not the trial court's job to make such a determination. The court stated that the responsibility belonged to the Tennessee Department of Corrections following revocation. Right? So he's trying to get out on a technicality. He's trying to search for a loophole, and so is his defense attorney, as to why he should be okay to have a gunfight in the middle of everywhere when there's children and people and God only knows who else that could be hit by a bullet. Come on. These are the kinds of people we're dealing with. All right. So a lot to unpack. Him and Mr. Orr obviously don't get along. All right. And we have another missing child situation in the family. Go figure. Nobody else ever talked about that. That's wild. I've never heard about it anyway. As to the merits of the revocation proceeding, the trial court found that the defendant was a convicted felon and therefore was not allowed to possess a gun. The trial court said that there was bad blood, quote, bad blood between the parties, and that Mr. Orr was not, quote, blameless. The court, and I agree with that, the court said that it did not have, quote, the court said it did not, quote, believe Mr. Orr necessarily, end quote, but found that he was, quote, very credible at the hearing. Well, that doesn't make sense. The court reasoned that both Mr. Orr and the defendant were concerned about LC and that the altercation was, quote, unfortunate. Yeah, thank God no one got hurt. The court found that the police arrived at the gas station after the shooting, reviewed video footage, and charged the defendant with aggravated assault. The court found that the police called Mr. Orr back to the gas station and did not charge him with anything. The court acknowledged that the footage had been lost and that it was not it would not have helped the defendant, quote, at all, end quote, but rather would have, quote, hurt, end quote, the defendant. Okay. But you guys still lost it. The court found that the defendant's gun was not recovered. The court found that the defendant showed the gun to Mr. Orr and that Mr. Orr shot the defendant several times. The court emphasized that the police did not charge Mr. Orr with anything and concluded that the defendant had violated the terms and conditions of his probation, right? So because he had a gun, he wasn't supposed to. The trial court revoked the defendant's probation and ordered him to serve all sentences in confinement. So he got some jail time on that. The defendant filed a timely notice of appeal, and then we have an analysis. So just so much to unpack, you guys, on this. Again, Mr. Orr and Mr. Guy got into it over this missing child, and they've redacted to LC. Right? So, jurisdiction. On appeal, the defendant urges that the trial court erred by revoking his probation. The defendant urges that his sentences for each case have expired before the October 19th, 2022 probation revocation warrant was filed. Thus, the court should have dismissed the revocation warrant. Further, the defendant argues that the trial court failed to properly calculate the defendant's pretrial jail credit and failed to, quote, articulate clearly how much time the defendant should be serving, end quote. The state responds that the trial court properly revoked the defendant's probation. Appellate courts ordinarily review a trial court's revocation of probation decision for an abuse of discretion with a presumption of reasonableness so long as the trial court places sufficient findings and the reasons for its decisions as to the revocation and the consequences on the record. State versus Dagnan, right? And that's Tennessee in 2022. The issue raised by the defendant, however, strikes at the trial court's authority to rule over the revocation proceeding in the first instance, right? And guys, again, this judge, or excuse me, this defense attorney is simply looking up other court cases that set precedents for this case, right? So that's all they're doing is looking up other court cases that set precedents and then trying to apply it to this to get him out of trouble. No proof was presented at the hearing regarding the surveillance footage, right? And we already know that. That's the other footnote from at the bottom. The jurisdictional issue is a matter of law, says the courts. Okay. Which will, sorry, I got to get this off of here, which will review de novo with no presumption of correctness. See Abder's Raham versus State, right? Tennessee in 2020. I guess it was a criminal appeal. If a trial court determines that a defendant has violated the conditions of probation, it has the authority to revoke the defendant's probation and cause execution of the original judgment. Tennessee Code 40-35-311. This authority exists at the time within the maximum time which was directed and ordered by the court for such suspended sentence. A defendant is released from probation after his or her sentence has expired. A trial court has no authority to revoke probation after the sentence has elapsed if a probation revocation warrant is issued with the term of the suspended sentence. However, the issuance of the warrant commences the revocation proceedings and thereby interrupts, the running of the probationary period until such time as the trial court may hear and determine the issue raised by the warrant, right? And again, he's just pulling up a bunch of different, State versus Watkins, McGuire versus State. When a defendant is on probation on 2 consecutive sentences and violates his probation before completion of the first term, the trial court has the authority to revoke all probation and order service of the original sentences. State versus Anthony. If defendant successfully completes a probationary sentence, however, the trial court is with authority to revoke probation and order the service of the original sentence. State versus Hunter. And then they're again saying, here's another case that set precedence for this issue. And so since he revoked one probation, he has revoked all of them, right? So the defendant briefly argues on appeal, as he did in the trial court, that at least one of the misdemeanor sentences had expired prior to the initiation of the 2017 probation revocation proceedings, right? So, but that doesn't matter. You were on probation for the other thing, and you violate one, you violate all. This argument is without merit. First, as the trial court noted, that the defendant never challenged the court's jurisdiction over the misdemeanor cases during the 2017 proceedings. Indeed, the defendant conceded to having violated his probation in those cases. See Tennessee RAP. Nothing in this rule shall be, sorry. All right. Nothing in this rule shall be constructed as requiring relief be granted to the party responsible for the error or who have failed to take whatever action was responsible of it, or excuse me, whatever action was reasonably available to prevent or nullify the harmful effect of the error. If the defendant sought to challenge the validity of the court's jurisdiction over his misdemeanor sentences in 2017, he should have done so at that time. Second, the defendant failed to include in the record on appeal that the probation violation warrant underlying the 2017 proceedings. Because the issuance of the warrant commences revocation proceedings and interrupts the running of the probationary period, this document should have been included in the record to support the defendant's contention at this point. And then it references other cases. So the court is referencing other cases that set precedents, stating that the absence of adequate record on appeal, we presume that the trial court rules correctly. Because the defendant did not object at the time, and because the record is inadequate, we presume that the trial court has jurisdiction over both misdemeanor cases at the time of the 2017 probation revocation proceedings. We now turn to the defendant's main contention that the trial court lacked jurisdiction over the misdemeanor cases at the initiation of the 2022 revocation proceedings. We begin with the first domestic violence case, which consisted of a 2-year probationary period that the trial court had started on July 12, 2017. Pursuant to State versus Watkins. The defendant argues that the effective term of his probation period should have been reduced in 2017 by the amount of jail credit that had been accrued at the state of that point. In Watkins, the court examined the effect of pretrial jail credit has on maximum sentence allowed in misdemeanor cases. The defendant in Watkins had had served 5 months and 8 days of a pretrial incarceration prior to the entry of a judgment of a Class A misdemeanor convictions. Following the revocation of his probation on this case, the defendant in Watkins argued that the probationary period of one of his 11 months, 29 sentences should have been reduced to account for the pretrial jail credit, thus rendering the probation violation warrant untimely. This court agreed nothing that the maximum sentence for a Class A misdemeanor was 11 months and 29 days, and holding that a probationary period undiminished by pretrial jail credit would have resulted in the effective sentence of 11 months and 29 days plus 5 months and 8 days, a sentence exceeding the maximum or the statutory maximum. At issue here, however, is not the reduction of the defendant's sentence of 11 months, 29 days for a Class A misdemeanor as addressed in Watkins, but rather should be the defendant's extended probationary period of 2 years imposed pursuant to the code section 40. Oops. Let me just read that little last part there. Sorry, guys. Oh, sorry. All right. For the domestic violence conviction reduced by the pretrial. Right. So he just kind of wants to get away with all of this because of a technicality again. Hey, IML, good to see you, Joe. So yeah, he's just trying to get away with it, right, on a technicality. Normally, the period of probation which may be imposed by a trial court cannot exceed the statutory maximum time for a class of the conviction offense. State versus Epperson, right? If the court determines that a period of probation is appropriate, the court shall sentence the defendant to a specific sentence, but shall suspend the execution of all or part of the sentence and place the defendant on supervised or unsupervised probation, either immediately or after a period of confinement for a period of time no less than the minimum sentence allowed under the classification and up to and including the statutory maximum time for the class of conviction offense. Emphasis added. However, pursuant to the subsection for certain offenses, including domestic assault, the trial court may sentence a defendant to a period of probation not to exceed 2 years if certain statutory criteria are met, right? In the State versus Epperson, the court addressed an argument similar to one advanced by the defendant in this appeal. The defendant in Epperson had received a split confinement sentence of 90 days followed by a probationary period of 2 years. The defendant in the case argued that the sentencing structure created an effective sentence of 90 days plus 2 years in excess of the statutory maximum sentence for conviction offense. This court disagreed, holding from a plain reading of the statute, a trial court may impose a period of partial confinement, right? It depends on the domestic violence because of the charge. It just depends on the charge. On a misdemeanor domestic assault conviction and as well as 2-year probationary period. In a concurring opinion, Judge Ogle wrote that 2-year probationary provision of Section 303 must be read in conjunction with the general probationary provision of Section 303, which allows for the probationary period to commence after a period of confinement. Right? So that just means that you can, be sentenced to a certain amount of time in jail, and then you're going to be on probation, right? And that is mostly what we see that happens in the court system. You might serve some jail time and then you might get some probation. It's very rare that you just get out of jail and don't serve probationary time, right? So we agree with the reasoning set forth in the majority and congruing opinions in Epperson. The plain language of sections 303 and 303B allows a trial court to impose the full probationary period of 2 years, even after a defendant has served a, quote, period of confinement on that case. Therefore, when the trial court ordered the original probationary period to commence anew on July 12, 2017, the defendant began service on the full 2-year probationary period as set forth in the original judgment. Nonetheless, the probationary period expired on or about July 11th, right? So again, he doesn't have a leg to stand on, but his lawyer seems like he's decent because he's going to bat for him. And then this says it expired on July 11th, 2019, well before the issuance of a probation revocation warrant on October 19th, 2022. Even though the defendant was not entitled to a reduction of his effective 2-year probationary period pursuant to Watkins, the trial court still lacked jurisdiction to revoke the defendant's probation on the other domestic violence case. The defendant's consecutive suspended sentence of 11 months, 29 days in the second domestic violence case was not extended pursuant to Code Section 40-35-303 and is therefore governed by Watkins. Again, guys, the Watkins case is taking precedence and setting precedence here and is used as case precedence. So the defendant's consecutive I'm right here. That case commenced following the expiration of a case, the first domestic violence case, on or about July 12th. After the deduction of the day of pretrial credit awarded to the original judgment, the 11-month and 29-day sentence in the second case with the domestic violence would have expired on or about July 9th, 2020. Thus, the second domestic violence case also expired well before the issuance of the probation violation warrant on October 9th, 2022. The court lacked jurisdiction to revoke the defendant's probation in both cases for the domestic violence. So the correction of the clerical error in the judgment of this case Before we turn to the expiration date of the felony vandalism sentence in this case, we must first address an anomaly in the uniform judgment document in the case, documents in the case. As stated above, the judgment document indicates that the trial court imposed a 3-year sentence to be served as an alternative sentence of a 6-year supervised probation beginning July 12, 2017. The document contains no reference to the misdemeanor sentences for the domestic violence. In its brief, the state argues that the revocation warrant of October 19th, 2022 was issued within the 6-year probationary period and was therefore timely to give the court jurisdiction to revoke the defendant's probation for the felony vandalism. The state would be correct, except the judgment document for the case does not accurately reflect the sentence actually imposed by the trial court in 2017. Clerical errors include a failure to record a defendant's sentence accurately on the judgment, may be corrected at the time of the pursuant to the Tennessee Rule of Criminal Procedure. To determine whether such an error has been made, a court ordinarily must compare the judgment with the transcript of the trial court's oral statements. When there is a conflict between the judgment and the transcript of the trial court statements, the transcript controls. A thorough review of the transcripts from the defendant's guilty plea on May 10th, 2017, and his probation hearing on July 12th, 2017 demonstrates the court's actually imposed a 3-year probation sentence in the felony vandalism charge to be served consecutively to the probation. Right? So he still had the other charge. And I just find this to be very wild because you have all of these domestic violence charges within this one document, and you can't look at any of these. Oh, Kiki says, oh, Cinderella was hidden on accident. Uh-oh. Let me see if I can't unhide her. Give me just 1 second here. I think this is pretty much wrapping up on this, that he had these two charges, and basically he's saying they didn't do it in a timely fashion. He's saying they did. So give me just 1 second. Let me take a look at this. And I also think it's wild that they lost footage that they had of that, horrible issue over at the gas station. Okay, so the state argues on appeal that the defendant cites no law for the proposition that Ferguson's analysis is applicable in the probation revocation proceeding. The state contends that Ferguson does not apply in the context of probation revocation proceedings, right? So they're just arguing back and forth. We need not determine whether Ferguson applies in probation revocation proceedings because, as we will demonstrate, the defendant waived any such issue in a trial court. So on January 4th, 2023, the court stated that it needed to hear proof regarding the lost video recording from the officers involved before it could make a Ferguson determination. The trial court reserved its ruling on the issue until the January 19th, 2023 probation revocation hearing, with the understanding that the proof would be presented on the issue at that time, right? And again, how do you lose footage like that? What did you do? Accidentally delete it? It's still in your deleted files. I mean, you usually have to delete stuff twice. If you guys catch my drift there. At the beginning of January 19th, 2023, probation revocation hearing, the defendant again raised the Ferguson issue, to which the prosecutor stated his understanding that the parties had agreed to conduct the hearing without mention of the video or its contents. The defendant neither objected to this statement by the prosecutor, nor did he call any officers or witnesses to testify regarding the lost video recording. Without determining whether Ferguson applies in the context of probation violations, we conclude that the issue is waived because the defendant lodged no contemporaneous objection on the basis of Ferguson at the probation and revocation hearing on January 19, 2023, nor did he put on necessary proof to allow the trial court to decide the issue. As the movement, it was the defendant's responsibility to elicit proof of the hearing supporting his contention that the revocation warrant would be dismissed as a result of the lost video. This proof could have informed the trial court of the circumstances regarding the loss of the evidence, as well as the potential contents of the video based upon witnesses who have reviewed it. This information would have been necessary for the trial court to knowledgeably rule on the defendant's motion. Indeed, without this proof in the record, the defendant cannot even satisfy the threshold showing required by Ferguson that the video was constitutionally material, meaning that it potentially possessed exculpatory value. Because the defendant did not present the proof of the trial court, this issue has been properly preserved for appeal and has been waived. Right? Finally, the defendant asks the court to reconsider its denial of the defendant's Tennessee Rule of Appellate Procedure 8 motion for release pending appeal. The state argues that this is not the appropriate avenue for the defendant to seek reexamination of the court's previous denial. The state argues that the defendant should have filed a motion to review it in our Supreme Court within 15 days of the court's denial. We agree with the state. At the January 19th, 2023 probation revocation hearing, defense counsel asked the trial court to set a bond while the defendant appealed the court's decision, and the trial court denied that request. On April 6th, 2023, this court denied the defendant's motion for review of the trial court's denial of his request for bond pending appeal of his probation revocation. In his brief on appeal, the defendant renews his argument that he should have been released on bond. However, Tennessee Rule of Appellate Procedures 8 provides that a party may appeal a court criminal appeals decision for review by filing a motion. Right? You always have to file motions. That's how you get things done in the courts. And he's just begging away over here, but no cigar. Review in the Supreme Court within 15 days of filing the court's appeals order. The defendant failed to utilize his available remedy of appealing the court's decision to the Supreme Court. According to the defendant, he has failed to comply with Tennessee Rule and Appellate Procedure, and we deny his request to reconsider the court's denial of his request for bail. Further, because we are affirming the defendant's probation revocation in the felony vandalism case, the issue is moot, right? So they said it's moot, which means there's no reason to go back and forth about it because it's already been settled. Hey, Liberty, good to see ya. Right? So the conclusion is, for reasons stated, the judgment of the trial court is affirmed in part and reversed in part. We vacate the probation revocation order and remand to the trial court for entry as amended order that does not list the domestic violence situations. On remand, the trial court shall also enter a corrected judgment in the case involving the vandalism, right, felonious vandalism, that accurately set forth the sentence orally pronounced by the trial court on July 12th, 2017, as set forth in this opinion, right? And that's Kyle Hickston is the judge. So they went back and forth about this, right? Merry Christmas, Liberty. Merry Christmas to you too. And you know, they really didn't. He really didn't get far, right? He probably spent a lot of money, but he didn't really get far because it doesn't sound like he was being represented by a public defender. In my opinion, maybe he was. That's a damn good public defender. So, a couple of things in here. Lost footage by the police, by Sumner County, right? Because I'm guessing that's where this all transpired, because he lives in Sumner County, right? So, in my opinion, Duck Dynasty is doing nothing to find Sebastian, right? The party's over. We got Pig Fest. We got all this crap that you guys are always doing. And then look at Mr. Isbell over here, grabbing my petition to run for county mayor. Let's do this, Sumner County. Why don't you do something? Why don't you sign the petition to get Sebastian's case moved up to the FBI? That would be nice. That would be nice. Sumner County Duck Dynasty strikes again. Vote for me. Vote for me. Why should we? Why should anybody vote for you? Right? Why should anybody vote any of these guys in? You know, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. The truth doesn't cost anything, but a lie could cost you everything. So why would any of these gentlemen put their neck on the line for the Proud Feet? Why would they give up their family life? Why would they give up their freedom, their rights for the Proud Feet? What's up with that? Because the truth it's free. But a lie could cost you your whole entire life. We stand with Seth for Sebastian. And this is why Seth was outside protesting, in my opinion, because it's so damn corrupt. It's a corrupt mess. Hey, SI officer, how you doing, hun? You know? It's crazy. Brenda says, I think they're scared of, I think they are scared of them, in my opinion. I mean, they absolutely have pull, or we wouldn't have lost footage, right? That's one of Danny Guy's people, right? That's part of the Foot Clan, in my opinion. Where is Sebastian Rogers? Right? There's Seth outside of Sumner County Sheriff's Office. That's where we're going to be, to the best of my knowledge, protesting, you know? So, yeah, no action whatsoever. No one's doing anything, right? Except for these kind people standing out there with Seth. There's Jeff. Thank God for Jeff over there. Jen, all of our friends that were out there. This is why he has to do this, guys. You think he likes to do this? Thank you, Detroit. You know, he doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to be sitting outside like this. Justice for his son. He doesn't want to have a contemporaneous relationship with the police. Seth is the police. You know, he's a corrections officer. You think he likes to have zero faith in law enforcement? He doesn't. But he has to go out there because this is not right. Where is Sebastian? He's still missing. Where's Sebastian, Katie? Where's Sebastian, Chris? $500,000 reward through Rat Night. You know? And we got this weirdo. So if you guys have information on this weirdo, I would get it over to At Night. I mean, I already know they watch my videos, so I already know Dog the Bounty Hunter's been in the chat. Nick the Hat has been in the chat. Not to be confused with Cat in the Hat. Right? So there you go. You know? I mean, I wonder, Jen, but it seems like it's bigger than just Craddock too, you know. But Jen says remove Craddock, the corrupt, and maybe we can find him. You know, it makes me very, very sick to think about corruption at the level that we're seeing it. Very sick. Right? I don't believe LE's working on this case at all, says Liberty. I just don't even know. And it is so damn sad. And it's like, who's gonna step up? Oh, threats all over. Threats all over. I hear about them every day. You know, SI officer, it's like every time I turn around, I go to the email and I think I'm going to get far in my email answering back to people. Oh, forget about it, especially lately. If anyone is being harassed or threatened or anything like that, please document it and get it to the proper authorities. It stops really quick when the proper authorities have the information. It really does, guys. I'm living proof of it. Right? Thank you, Miss Ann. I know you will be, girlfriend. I know you will be. And I appreciate you. Yes, IML. Please, Nick the Hat. I know you watch me. I know you're one of my subscribers. Maybe you don't watch me every day, but today's the day. You should watch me. Watch this video. Get this information. Pull it off my page. If you need it, I'll email it to you. Because this is somebody that looks a lot like that green hoodie person. I don't know who it is. And you got to remember, this is a picture of him when he was, back in 2017. Is that when it was? Let me see. Sorry, guys. He's a little weirdo. He's such a little weirdo. Look at Katie with the corn cob. She just loves those nasty people. She loves to hang out with the predators. Yeah, this is him in 2017. I do declare. Sorry. Could be 2018 there. Now I'm buffering. So 2018. Right? So either way, guys, grab the tag numbers for this guy. He's got multiple tag numbers that I put in here. These cases, I'm going to pull the case numbers. I'm going to see what we can find on this guy. We're going to do a full dossier on this guy. Because I didn't have this information like the court docs until today. Bless, thank you. Hashtag Huckleberry. I love that little dog. That's right. We're Sebastian's Huckleberry, birds of a feather. I won't, Jen, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of my email, I wish the Cajun Navy wouldn't have been scared away too, Christy. And that's a good reminder. If they can be scared away, I shared one of Mommin's posts today. Let me go over to this. Let's go over to this really quick, because Cajun Navy weren't the only ones that got scared off of Sebastian's case. So was Nancy Grace. All right. I still think this podcast and how it was removed without an explanation could be worth a second listen. While Sebastian Rogers is still missing, would anyone like to review of this tonight or tomorrow? I have one more live to do first. Hashtag Sebastian Rogers. And the name of the podcast that she removed is Never Ending Missing Boy Sebastian Rogers. Dad will find him as video enhance reveal. Where's the big reveal, Nance? I tagged Nancy Grace in this, by the way, you guys. I know some of us just love her, and I do too, but I'm gonna say I love calling Nancy out. I really do, because she's done a lot of fuckery. Her producers have, at least. Justice for Nuke says that county needs to show proof of investigation progress, that they ain't doing nothing because they all are covering. It's weird, to say the least. And they're not the only ones covering. You know, you got Nancy Grace covering information that she knows. What relation is he? A cousin? He is a cousin, I do believe. Yeah. Because of the last name is what I'm thinking, Liberty. Did you find this info? Who brought this out? Yeah, so I did find it. And I will not reveal my sources. Let's just call them the Countess of New England. But Bo sent me the original post from At Night that they were looking for this character that fits this guy's description, except for the age. Yeah, you're welcome, Christy. I'm just like, I was floored because I had made, a couple of videos about this person, and did a live stream, but I wasn't sure if it was that person or not. I'm still up in the air about if it's really, the green hoodie person, if this person gained weight or something like that. People can change their appearances. But I think even so, going back and looking at this person, since we have information on this person, since they are an RSO, I think there's somebody to definitely look into, because this is somebody who wouldn't mind getting into someone else's vehicle and doing something horrible to a child, like Sebastian Rogers. I don't think so, IML, not that I've heard of. I mean, I would hope that they would, but they usually deploy resources that are local, is how they did it in Devlin's case. Like, they said that they would take it on, then they passed it along to find 911 or 911 find, and then those people passed it along to the local resources. So, and the reason I know that is because I talked to the local resources that it was handed to confirm, Yeah, exactly, Jen. And who actually runs that county? Is it Chris Proudfoot or Eric Craddock? Eric Craddock looks like he looks horrible. He looks like an educated fool is what he looks like. Because I know he's not stupid. And I know he's educated. I think JLR was scared off too. Yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion. I think he didn't want to deal with it anymore. So, oh yeah, she definitely was. Texas Plain Jane, good to see you. And it's horrible. It's horrible to think that she would do that. And then she's had nasty old fish sticks all up on her panel because she uses his drone footage. It's disgusting. Talking about a nobody case with baby Emmanuel. What about Sebastian? Right? Or did you just move on to the next one, Nance? Yeah, he's directly blood related to the feet. IML. Oh, Cece says, I don't think that JLR was scared off. I think he went another way on his own, if you get what I mean. That could be too, Cece. That could be too. Yeah, I think that's a strong possibility as well, without knowing the actual reason. And Nancy Grace could have done the same thing. I'm not putting it past anybody. Not of KP. Not of KP. It would have been CP because the last name is Guy. I know, Miss Ann. I know you like the purple sweaters. Which reminds me, if you guys want to get a walking billboard of Sebastian, there's all kinds of colors and stuff. Um, well worth the money. So I'll post that link here. And they're very nice. I wear my shirt, I wear my hoodie when I can, all of that. So, and then also, if you guys want to send a Christmas present to Seth, please do. Or if you want to help him with the search stuff, right? Because he, he's the one that's still looking, you know? So, yeah, the cousin of KP is a different relative. Yes, yes. So, nobody wanted to deal with court stuff like BHB had to. Yeah, well, and that's a big one, right? Justice for Noog, that's a big one. And really we're always within our rights to do any of the things that we do on the internet. You know, we showed that she showed us that, but then we also have seen that on other things, but she's Bullhorn Betty's a great example of how you cannot stifle free speech just because you don't like what is being said. Coffin Daffer walked away. Yeah, started talking about how the lights weren't anything. Yep. Christy, in my opinion, she looks scared as to get out, in my opinion. Yeah, I think so too, Kiki. Yeah. All have changed directions. It's been so frustrating. Yeah, it has been. And one thing as of late, which I wanted to show you guys oh, I like those comments. We could always do a review over here too on that. Let's see here. I want to post this really quick. Sorry, guys. I just want to get Sebastian's flyer posted here fast. And let me go ahead and take this off. And let's go back here. And I want to show you guys the cemetery. Let's see. It was in the video that I did here. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. Oh, here we go. All right. So this is... Oh, let me get rid of this ad. All right. There we go. All right. That's muted. Okay, great. So here's Sumner County. We're coming up on Sebastian's school here. And, it's a really cute area. There's a lot of really nice, homes in the area. It's a cute area. Sorry, that's a little bumpy. So you wouldn't necessarily see this area and think, oh, that's a creepy area. But trust me, it's very creepy around there. It's beyond creepy when you get into town. And I don't know if that's just a feeling I get because of this case. There's a strong possibility about that, right? Because there's a lot of nice, really, really nice people that live there as well, guys. As you can see, there's water, right, and rivers and things like that, creeks that go through, right? And this is the street we're turning on to get to Sebastian's school. You're going to see it come up, right? There's some basketball courts. And there used to be a sign up for Sebastian outside the school, but there is not one anymore, unfortunately. Right? So here is Sebastian's school, Beach High School, is coming up. They also have the, middle school over here as well. SI officer says, I believe he's there somewhere. So then we have the school, right? And we all recognize this from when Seth was here doing the vigil. I do anyway. And it's a nice big school. It's an old school, but it's been there for a long time. And we can see the whole grounds of the school. And they had a big program where Sebastian really enjoyed taking the time with the animals in the 4-H, or excuse me, FFA. And now we're going to head over to the cemetery. Now, again, when I talked with Jen on the phone, we were talking about Pigfest and, okay, but I want to do some other things. And Jen goes, I have some places I want to show you. She said, is there anywhere that you think that Sebastian could be? And I said, Jen, I do not know. I honestly do not know where he could be. I haven't even gotten past how he got out of the house, right? And so, but again, here comes Shackle Island Fire Department. This is where they had the original headquarters for the search efforts, the command post, if you will. Right? So then Jen tells me that she wants to show me some places. So she took me to Stop 30. She took me over here to the cemetery. And this is where we can see the Masonic Lodge is right here. Right? And it's very active. There's people there right there. And they are hanging out. Right? And then they have this other building over here. They have a shed. Right? Beach Christian Life Center. Right? This is the church that owns the cemetery. So as we're driving along, we can see that there's this big church. It looks a little smaller from the other side. Right? And here we have the cemetery. And that day, there just so happened to be an undertaker who was digging a fresh grave for a person. And it's not a terribly big, I mean, sometimes there's huge cemeteries, right? This is a small one. And then we're going to drive to the end of this road because the end of this road would connect over by where Sebastian lives. Right? You see the pond there? That's a pond that everybody's been talking about since Jen, Jeff, and I have been there. They've also talked about this at length. And I have not been able to get, caught up with this, right? Because as soon as I put this out, it just exploded and people started sending, I guess I might have got the story wrong, guys, but to the best of my knowledge, people started just sending Mob Crew a whole bunch of footage of the cemetery. It's the weirdest thing. And I still, for the life of me, don't understand it. But this is, my footage from it. Oh, thanks, Kiki, for your super chat. She says, Lady, can we look for cameras on church and school, also on the light poles? Yeah, I mean, I didn't see a terrible amount of cameras. I could go back and look and see. Yeah, he was saying the lights were shining on this mausoleum type thing here. Right? And you can see it's very reflective even during the day. That's the white car that we were driving. So, yeah. But there's that big pond. And it's right by that thing, right? So what were they doing back there is a really good question. Because all of a sudden there's you know, neighbors that are sending mob the footage of that area, you know, and they're like, look at this, look at this. It's a columbarium. Thank you. Columbarium. Thank you, Kiki, for that. One looked like a large SUV. Okay, Liberty. See, I have to go back and watch. But I know that there was so much commotion about this after, you know, we went back there, but there was also commotion about it, if anybody remembers back in the beginning of this case. And Mom and It Up were talking, me and Mom and It Up were talking about that yesterday. See? All right, now I want you guys to hear what Jen says, because Jen was, you know, very involved in the searches in the initial. So I'm going to cut myself off here, close my mouth. All right, here we go.
Yeah, this wasn't like this when Sebastian was missing today.
Right.
This was not like this. Yeah. It's gonna make me a
This
liar.
goes to the Ward Lane.
Is it really? It's gonna make me into a liar. But this wasn't here. This was not here when Sebastian went missing. I swear to God.
Right. Right. Well, that's the disadvantage, Jen, is that, oh man, I wish I would have came out, you know.
She'd have made me no.
No, it doesn't go through, huh?
Yeah, this wasn't paved. This was dirt. This was dirt. I swear.
But see, that's gated.
I've got a witness too. My daughter and the girl that brought me out here.
That's gated too, though, Jen. How would they get through in a car?
Well, she wouldn't have. But I'm telling you, this was gated, and this wasn't a road.
It's a trail, basically.
And the church, that church,
mm-hmm.
owns all that, and we've searched that. This is Ward Lane.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that butts up against
I
the
would
neighborhood.
back up and then keep your front wheels on the pavement if you're trying to turn around.
Okay. I just don't know if that's a drop off.
The edge of the pavement is. That's why I say keep your front wheels on.
Like, but I know, but I don't know if we're going into a ditch. I can see in front of me that I'm not. Definitely don't want to get her fucking car stuck.
Okay, guys, sorry, I muted myself. So right here you can see this is Ward Lane, and it goes all the way through, but there's a gate, but it's freshly paved. So, you know, hey, Witchy Mama. So even Jen was saying, you know, this wasn't like this before.
That's why I say keep the front wheels on the pavement.
Okay.
So you get off the pavement, you got to try to get the...
Okay, guys, so we were trying to turn around and everything because it was, you know, kind of like a little ditch right there that we didn't want to go back into. Oh, sorry, I don't know. Oh, it's a whole mess of limes over here. All right, so, you know, as you can see, newly paved, and then Jen was like, hey, we searched this whole area back through here. You know, when this all very first came in, you know. Yeah, there's a gate now, but there wasn't before, Kiki. It was all gravel, like a gravel road. And now you guys are going to be able to see coming up here the Undertaker and the grave site that he is preparing for a person who passed away. And that's a big pile that wasn't there before, I guess. It was all grown up, and, you know, looks like they're trimming down a whole bunch of bushes and stuff, trees. And then there's that great wide open space too, and you can kind of see like where the lights are for the fields over there at the school. So everything is just right here. Everything's just right here. And then you see those big mounds still, right? I want to point these out, guys, and I'm sorry. Hold on. I want to point these big mounds out. So just bear with me here as we look. Again, you can see the dirt. It's like clay right? But see this big mound right here? These are the mounds that lady, the TikTok lady was talking about on Chris's live. See all this dirt? Just like that. That's what there was a spot of dirt that looked just like this dirt that was churned up, right? That has all the clay in it. It doesn't look like the brown dirt, but it looks, like a lighter brown clayish color. And see them all over here? All those spots. That's from the cemetery. Removing dirt. Look at that pile. That looks a lot like what that lady approached or came up on. Right? So just really eerie. And then now we go over here. See how he has the casket, right? And he's preparing everything here. And this is the other side of the cemetery that you can see. And then we're going to ride back by, I think this is where, up by the pond. Yep, there's the pond, and there's that. See how reflective it is? You can see the car like a mirror. It's like a mirror. See that? It's just like a mirror. And then it's right off of the pond. All right, then we have more cemetery. More dirt that was moved over. And then I also wanted to see if we could see this really quick. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second where we were back over here. And again, this is from that other angle coming in to the cemetery. They would have drove down this road. It doesn't take terribly long. This video has not been, slowed down or sped up or anything. This is us just driving through, right? Kind of cruising through at regular speed. And we're going to hit that again. There's the pond. We're coming up on it. We get that. Mausoleum. Columbarium, excuse me. And then lots of wide openness, right? Over there. At some point, I'm pretty sure I pan over to the guy. Because I saw something, right? So this is that guy close up again. And you could see he's loading the casket on in order to put them in the ground. Right? And you can see again all those mounds of churned up dirt. So they must take the dirt from over by where they're digging it up, and then they drop it on that other side. That was my dumb question for Canine Jules. How would a cadaver dog do in the cemetery? I don't think that's a dumb question at all. We need to get the dogs there for sure. For sure. Yeah. The guy, not sure it's Tennessee, who is a Senate or something. He makes skateboards, has donkeys, seems cool, not like most. I don't know who that is, IML. Yeah. Yeah, it would have to be a cadaver dog, Thanks, Kiki. We were trying, you know what I mean? Like, we were trying to get some good stuff, and we wouldn't have got it if we would have been sitting at Pig Fest. There would have been nothing good to get over there, so I'm glad it went like how it did. Right, we're paying them to be there, so, well, and that's it. It's the taxpayers' dollars, the pond bothers me. I don't know if I don't think it was checked good enough either, Kiki. I don't think it was checked good enough either. I think that whole area needs to be rechecked, especially if it's striking a chord with people. You Yeah, she's doing great, Miss Ann. She's been in our chat. I think she'll be reporting back to duty here soon. I'd have to check on the exact date. Yeah, only a cadaver dog could have. Yeah. Yeah. So, kind of just wanted to show you all that stuff because, it's being talked about a lot. And, I find it to be interesting, that day they were doing stuff. Also, I wanted to draw attention to this. So I'm going to play this through again really quick too before we get off.
She's a local. She lives out here. I can't remember her name. Her grandmother's buried out here, so she knew.
Yeah, it's very well kept over here too, like better than I thought it was, like looking at it, seeing it, people maintain it very nicely, I mean, some of the older graves, of course, maybe not as much, but.
Now the pond that the pastor from Long Hollow Baptist Church owns, it's like 10 feet and nobody searched it.
Really?
The pond. They had cadaver dogs. They had dogs out there. And this is just what this is what the neighbor told me that lives next door to the pastor.
Right.
Oh shit. This is the new construction area.
No, Texas Plain Jane. It was during her. She was on duty. She was on duty. She's a military police officer.
There was just
MP.
not many houses built at the time.
Right.
So a lot of it was construction. Take you up here.
So we were in there at 10:30, guys. Just 10:30 a.m. Saturday morning.
This one, babe. Parking here. I think it was this one.
See how the dirt comes up as like that clay color.
Shit.
I want to point that out.
Look at that.
Oh yeah.
So you can see the big ass construction dumpsters here. It's
And that's Republic Services. Yes, thank you. That's what I was looking for yesterday. I'm like, what the hell?
And there were guys working on a Saturday.
This is where the culverts were open. So on Willow Bend right here, I'm thinking right to the left, right?
Was where that giant ass. They don't get it at all.
Damn.
Oh shit, they did.
So right here was a giant fucking pile of tree debris that they had bulldozed up. It's probably 30 foot tall and maybe 80
Who's
foot
behind
around.
us? Well, how are we going to get away around here?
Pulling somebody's driveway.
And that goes straight to Sebastian's neighborhood. Straight back in. Whoops. All right, and there's going to be a spot now where Jeff and Jen are going to tell us about the culverts that were open back when Sebastian went missing. Because, of course, this is all different. Kiki, it was just somebody from the neighborhood. We were blocking their way in.
So these are the culverts that were open.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well.
Yeah, they are. That right there.
Yeah, it's
and
that one.
The one back there. And The next one, they were all open. This was
No
gravel road.
This was gravel.
It was curb and culverts. None of these houses were here.
None of these houses were here. It was nothing. This was all blank.
Okay, that was all.
You couldn't
I remember.
we couldn't drive up through here like we just did.
Right.
We could only get
through that gate.
From that way. The gate wasn't there, so we came this way, and I'm going to show you.
Okay.
From their neighborhood, because that's what really freaked me out is these big ass fucking.
Yeah, those are huge. They're huge.
They were everywhere, honey.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they were all over the place.
I was hoping
and I was like, holy fucking shit, man.
I was hoping we could see an area that was still under construction enough that they would be open and be able to see it.
Right, exactly.
They didn't shut this place down. They kept working. They kept going, but look.
This is all the same
look
company.
At all the shit that you did. I mean.
Right. And these ones picked up, what was it, Wednesday? Or when did they pick those big ones up?
We couldn't, I could never get any,
well, that's
I
usually
ended up finding the owner, and he's in Florida, and I mean, you know, it's, yeah.
The way it works on our job sites is the contractor calls in when they're ready for it to be done.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And I never could get a direct answer of where they would take it. The contractor, I guess, you know, they would have their own place. And so when people were talking about, well, they took it up there in Gallatin, I have a hard time believing that.
Sure, yeah.
It would have to be a commercial dump, you know. I don't know. You'd have to be
Republic has a contract with certain dump sites.
Yeah.
And certain dump sites will only take certain debris in the dumpster.
Yeah.
Okay, so I agree with this too. So who knows, you know, what happened there. SI officer, nothing happened at Pigfest, just when I went to go into the neighborhood right before I was leaving town, the neighbors were upset with me for taking footage of the ditch over by Sebastian's house. So, and I'm so sorry to hear that, Detroit. My goodness. Oh no. That's terrible. I can't believe they didn't have one single. That's so crazy. Not one camera picked it up. Usually Bass Pro's got cameras everywhere.
So all of that is a factor.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. We have to factor all of that in because this is managed by Gertner and Company.
Yeah, the neighbor's sons followed me out of the neighborhood. Two of the guys.
So there's the creek, woods and stuff back that way. I don't know the creek is back there, I think. So here's Kellen.
Okay, Kellen, yeah. Mm.
Do you want to go front?
Yeah, we should probably switch. Yeah, that's true. Thanks, Jeff. I didn't think about it. I'm just still trying to wrap my mind around all this. I'm like, damn.
Where this is the infamous home with my crew.
Oh, this is the one right here, huh? Yeah, oh, I see it. Okay, sorry.
Betty and JLR and Terry Bowers outside his
had their thing here,
huh?
There's the house of the lady that got mad at me, and her sons followed me out of the neighborhood, and they said they'd strike my channel. They knew a lot about YouTube.
Bitch up that way and came back down and curved over here.
And this ditch is so deep, you guys, just so everybody knows. It was all the way back.
Damn, that ditch is deep as fuck.
Now I put the camera in slow motion on this one, so when we're going past, and of course, you know, at Katie and Chris's house is Crabtree's truck. It was so weird, Texas Plain Jane. I don't know why either. It's the strangest thing ever. Right? And then you still have Chris's thing with the pop outs. I don't know if, Crabtree's living in their freaking camper or what. Who knows? Yeah, that's Crabtree's truck in the driveway at 10:30 on a Saturday morning, Jen. Yep, sure is.
It's such a cute name. I mean, these houses are so cute, and it's
Yeah,
so
for sure,
nice. I mean,
PTs, anything you want
you just
on
wouldn't even
anything at all.
think, you know.
Yeah, his sign was still there, Shadow. It sure was. I know, SA officer, it sure is. Who would have ever thought like somebody like Crabtree would be involved with Chris and Katie when they're ex-military? It's weird. Same thing with Fishy Fish Sticks. Of course, Kiki. Yeah, anything. And anytime any creators want to use any of this stuff, you could always use my footage and mute, like if there's music behind it, and just talk over the commentary, do the commentary over. But yep, there's Krabby's truck. Sebastian's poster is coming up here, or yard sign. There's his bedroom window. Poor kid. Ugh. And then here we go, going right up and around. There's the gazebo, and then the mob crew house. We call it mob crew house. Yep, all of that. And I got a close-up view of their cameras, which I'm sure, didn't make them too happy, but, what are you going to do? So, yeah. But this is the rest of their neighborhood. Victoria Place, I got a really bad feeling both times I was there. I don't know if it's because of the case again or, what it was.
God, that is a perfect.
Oh, next time I won't wear my Sebastian awareness shirt or anything because that probably tipped people off.
But then he would have, if he had cameras, he would have had him. He would have had him.
Oh, he does have cameras.
So back then, wasn't this the only way to get in?
This was the only way, yeah.
Like
Okay, this was
feeling
closed off.
Yeah, this was a
The
dead.
gate was
Yeah,
not
the
here.
gate. The gate wasn't here.
Oh, I see how it all connects now.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is the new construction.
Yeah, this is the new construction area. Wasn't
Hey,
needed.
Penny
Like I
Machete.
said, you see
Time
those
off.
manholes in
That's a
the
funny
middle
picture,
right
Mhm.
there?
Those were wide open, huh?
Yeah, the culverts where the storm drain is going to go into,
Mm-hmm.
they weren't small and covered. They were gaping.
They were 3
Big.
foot by 5 or 6 foot, and about
Yeah,
6 or 8 foot.
yeah, they
deep.
were huge.
That's huge.
Huge.
That is huge.
Very true, Jen.
He could have definitely got in there. He's not
Or been put in
short,
there.
but I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I don't see him going.
The cadaver
There's
dogs,
no
the
way
dogs
he
didn't
did
go
that.
that way though.
They didn't.
Mm-mm.
Damn.
The dog handler that we had out here walked them, and the wood pile, the giant wood pile, walked all over the wood pile.
Hamden Stone has a holiday secret that turns one gift.
Really? So they must have smelled something. And that's
All right,
just
guys,
all
and this
this
is out of the neighborhood. Down Kellen.
So that's Chris Carr's house.
All right, so let's just back it up just a tad. Oh, sorry.
The wood pile, the giant wood pile, walked all over the wood pile.
Sorry, we're still
Really?
going backwards. Sorry.
So they must have smelled something. And that's just a cul-de-sac, a little court.
So that's Chris.
Okay. See, he's also got a pull behind. Fifth wheel thing. Right. You could see the backyards, right? So he would have been able to have access to that camera. There would have been
right up to that, and there's that big.
No, I don't like the sign with all them crows right there, man.
I know, I don't either.
Trips me out.
It's it.
See, and then you could see all the cameras up. I'm sorry, right here. Yep. As we go, and then that's their back doors. The front door is up.
I saw those too, Jen.
See, back there now. Before it was in the. But Mob was talking about how they messed up the road in front of their house with the boat. So we saw that. So, I mean, a lot of footage of the neighborhood, and they've told us that the lights video was a trash truck. They told us that the green hoodie had no connection. The green hoodie is a woman. I don't know how many more lies they expect us to believe, but I'm not buying it. Maybe so, like Poltergeist. Cece says, wonder if the crab trees are and the feet are all living together. Could you imagine that living arrangement? Oh, I know, Cece. I thought about that too, Jenny says, I was thinking that too. How does how does crab paying by dealing? I know, LOL, allegedly, exactly. It's crazy. That's crazy. Hey, forget me not. Good to see you. I'll never believe it either. Never, ever, ever, SI officer. It's terrible. And, they just want us to believe all this crazy nonsense, and it doesn't even fit together in any type of way, shape, or form, and that's the main problem that we see. I hope people still continue to send in footage, information, all of that. We are going to do our Christmas party tomorrow, guys. We are going to roast tomorrow, so I cannot wait. It's going to be really entertaining. I hope I can make it as entertaining for you guys as it is for me to make the videos. And it is absolutely sickening, SI officer. Enough is enough, right? It's just like we've had it up to here how many times, you know? So yeah, we're gonna have a party tomorrow. So it'll be fun. You guys will enjoy it. Again, I was hoping to do a reverse kind of a thing, but I think you guys will enjoy what I have planned for you. Let's just keep praying for justice for Sebastian. Let's hope that if this character is who they say, who they are showing themselves to be, right? Like I said, I want to kind of do a little bit more of a deep dive on some of these numbers. It should all be public information, but there was case numbers within the paperwork that I showed tonight. And Bo, I think it's going to be another 11 or 11:30 show. So I think that'll be a good one. Yes, have a blessed and Merry Christmas to SI officer. And we're also going to do a Christmas Eve live and a Christmas day live, but for true crime stuff, we might give it a rest for a couple of days, or I'm not sure what we're going to do on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, but we'll definitely be on here, late night, because that way you guys can get everything done with the family, and friends, or whoever, whatever you guys are doing. I hope you have a wonderful, holiday, just enjoying your friends and family. um Please keep Seth in your thoughts and prayers. Um, you know, eh, Pray for Sebastian's protection. The same thing for Devlin Tate's family. I did hear through the grapevine that Sandra's not doing too well, that she's been feeling really sick and not wanting to get out of bed and things like that. So even when we don't agree with people, we do still care for other people. We never want anything bad to happen. And so, please say prayers for Sandra Tate as well. Um, just putting it out there. But we're gonna roast tomorrow. We're not roasting Sandra though. We're gonna be roasting, this reward crap that they've been pushing all over the place, and hear from Jessica, Devlin's mother, and Mary, the lady that has the reward money. It's gonna be an interesting show, so definitely come back for that. And thank you so much for you all being here always with us. It's absolutely, it means the world to me, and I just love being around you guys and going over these cases. And I think that you guys are really going to enjoy the show tomorrow. Like I said, it's going to put some things into perspective, but we're also going to talk about Devlin Tate. He needs the exposure. He needs people out there talking about him, and being diligent for him. And thank you, Jenny Machete, too, for the green hearts. Thanks, guys, for the green hearts. Oh, thank you, little Miss Sharon, for your super sticker. Thank you. Yeah, so I will just really be happy to be with you guys tomorrow for our party. And if you have an ugly sweater, wear it. I'm gonna wear my ugly cat sweater. I gotta fish it out for tomorrow night. All right, guys, I love you all so much. You have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I will see you very soon.